I want to take you through 4 mistakes that I made that made me lose a lot of money on YouTube in the first years of doing YouTube. I've been on YouTube for a while, and for most of these years, I made nothing. There were mistakes that I was making that I wasn't even aware of, and I've seen a lot of people who are starting YouTube afresh making some of these mistakes. And that is what I want to address in this video. The first mistakes of them all is YouTube. Yes, YouTube was the first thing that made me lose a lot of money on YouTube itself. Now, let me explain. This might sound some way, but in my first early years of YouTube, I realized that the place to learn to do this YouTube thing I want to do is on YouTube. That was a free option I had. I didn't have money for courses. I didn't have money to, buy any form of learning material to be able to let me create YouTube videos. So I resorted to YouTube. And don't get me wrong, there are very great videos on YouTube, but as of then, I didn't know anything about YouTube, and therefore I was watching any kind of video that I could find, and it led me to a path full of wrong information, wrong strategies. And I realized this after I created almost about 1,500 videos on 2 channels before I got to know that no, what I'm doing does not work. If it is a good strategy, why is it not working even upon 1,500 videos? When you watch YouTube videos, they tell you that make your first 100 videos, and after your first 100 videos you figure something out. But what if after the first 100 videos you've not figured anything out, right? You continue to do what you know, because there's no way you're going to give up at that time. Even if you are giving up, when you are coming back without any other knowledge, this is the same knowledge you're going to apply, and it won't work for you. So you get to the right knowledge. New YouTubers starting up find it hard to access the right knowledge, and therefore they resort to the free options that we have, like YouTube videos, social media experts teaching how to create content. And personally, it led me to a path that I lost a lot of money. I lost money. I lost time. I lost all effort. I lost all my effort that I've invested in this venture. And so, for anybody who is starting YouTube, I strongly recommend that in your first years, try as much as possible to learn right. Learn right. I'm saying learn right because not all learning is learning, and not all learning leads to success or to right knowledge. And sometimes it can be hard to unlearn after you've spent time learning all the wrong things. So make sure you are learning the right thing. And how do you know this is the right thing? Seek for proof, seek for fruit out of these teachings, seek for evidences that these things works. Do you understand? And from the little experience that I've gathered, it makes, when you get this thing right, it makes your journey a little more smoother, because you are premising your whole journey on this foundation. When you are able to discern right and wrong, in the future, when you need to improve and you need more knowledge, you will still be able to discern the wrong information from the right information. That is one of the blessings that I missed out when I started. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is what is networking. It is very important. Networking. And so let me tell you a short story about networking. I had a bunch of YouTube channels on Christian content. I think about 3 or 4 channels. And then I wasn't monetized. And for all these channels, I had the hope that in the near future, I would monetize. And then, I won't be monetizing one, but multiple channels, and then I'll bring in huge revenue. But I was wrong, because I was wasting all my efforts. Here with wrong information. And one of the things that made me overcome this wrong information is through the people I met later on my journey. I have a friend I met in those days who started teaching me, who started directing me on the right path. In the beginning, I thought this doesn't make sense. Clearly, how can A, B, C help me to monetize something I've been putting even extra effort, but it's not working? And what you are telling me is low and even lesser effort, and you're telling me that is what works. And I kid you not, that is exactly what worked for me. At that time when I was being told, I felt no, this is too good to be true, so I ignored it. But later I came to notice patterns of what I was told earlier on. It looked like low effort, but later on that is what actually helped me. And I've used this strategy to build over 20 plus channels within 2 years. I've helped other people build more than 20 channels within 2 years. 80% of these people have found success with these strategies. And that is why I'm going on this journey to teach people on YouTube how to create, how to grow, how to monetize, and how to scale YouTube as a business, right? And if you're really interested in creating, growing, monetizing, and scaling your YouTube business, this is the perfect channel for you. Subscribe. And now moving on to the next point, buying views was one of the mistakes that's really hurt my channel. Buying views and subscribers. At the onset, when I met this friend who directed me to a strategy, I thought it's too easy and it's too, low effort to be true. So I resorted to other ways. I spent huge money buying views, buying subscribers. I even bought watch time. I bought comments. I bought all the things you can think of, likes. But these are the same things. It's funny when we are chasing the views, the subscribers, the likes, the comments, but it turns out that buying them is the wrong action you can take for your channel. Is the most evil thing you can do to yourself. Now, obviously, we don't have all the time to go into the details, but it is one of the biggest mistakes most new creators do. Most new content creators, they want to do. They feel like buying the numbers. There is this narrative that when you buy the numbers and people see the numbers, they will begin to think that because there's numbers, then the content might be good, and so therefore they'll be attracted to your channel and your content. That is wrong, especially when these days most platforms, especially YouTube, is prioritizing watch time. Watch time is the amount of time people spend watching your video. So if you're buying these views, if you've bought views before, you are buying views, you begin to know that these views are just numbers. They have no data behind them. They have zero interactions, zero engagement behind them. And so therefore, this tells YouTube that all these millions of views that you're buying, they are just vague, they are empty, there is no watch time to them, and so therefore they won't push your video, because these days that is a main thing you should focus on, watch time. And so buying views is one of the most deadly thing you can actually do to push your channel. It's a bad advice. If anybody tells you to buy views, naturally we know that buying views is wrong. But when you are eager to grow, something deep inside of you want to make you convince yourself that buying views is the right way. But trust me, I'm telling you, trust me, it is a wrong approach. And that is one of the huge mistakes I did that killed or wasted my 4 years of creating content. The last thing and the most important of these four that I should have known and started early was, building the right systems. Sorry, right systems. YouTube is just like any other business. It needs the right systems to keep sustaining itself, growing, managing itself, and giving you, whatever revenue or whatever outcome you are desiring. And the right systems is one of the main things that you need to set in place. You can't just do it anyhow. You need to take your time. Sometimes you don't even need to create videos. You just need to sit down, analyze the whole workflow, analyze your content creation process, and see how best you can optimize, how best you can make the most out of it, how best you can strategize it in a way that it doesn't really depend on how much you know to work. It doesn't really depend on how you are available to work. There are a whole lot of strategies you can put in place. Just for as an example, you can, for instance, say that anytime I have to create videos, I will batch produce so that in days that you're not available, you still have enough videos ahead of you. You can't just create and upload, create and upload. It makes you feel like you are giving your whole life out to this YouTube thing. So this is just one example of putting right systems to help you create better videos or to help you create content in the right way. So if you're a new YouTuber, these are things that you can avoid. These are things that these are mistakes I made that I believe you can avoid. And with the right mindset, I believe you will become one of the best creators.